point. Primarily it's for our chapel family so they can hear and listen to the story, listen to God's work on people's heart in our community. But yeah, I suppose, what was your thoughts on it, Paulie?
Oh, I guess I just struggle with the earphones in the ear, because I'm so connectable. It's part of the challenges I've undertaken ever since I've been a Christian, is being able to connect with people, and it's part of my conviction is not to put earphones in my ear when I'm around people, and feed myself with podcasts or justify it through listening to worship music, which is justifiable,
Yeah.
But it takes me away from connecting to the person next to me. So, I was just struggling with the thought of this.
Yeah.
But that's a very good point. That's really valid, and that's something everyone needs to think about. But then when I'm driving for 6 hours a day and I'm by myself, I get a lot of podcasts. But that is actually legitimate. That's true. I listen to a lot of stuff. Listen to the Bible app, 15 minutes, and then podcast for the rest of the 5 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah. I guess it's bred off a question that I've always been asked is, how do you do it? How do you connect with people? How do you, it's because of that. It's because of that conviction where I challenge, I challenge myself not to do it, but to say hello to the person next to me. It's that simple. And that simple act has led to so much
conversation,
connection,
and people are hurt, and it doesn't take long before people start to open up about how much hurt there is.
Yeah, that's pretty deep straight away.
Oh, just spoken into it.
No, that's.
Are you drowning? You want a hand?
Yeah, pull me up.
I'll help you.
Yeah. No, that's that's really true. That's probably going to be hard. It's hard for me to hear because, I see myself as pretty open and I want to talk to people. I love helping people. But at the same time, a lot of the time, outside of work, outside of family, outside of, what I've scheduled for being a good Christian, I don't want to talk to anyone. I want to just, I've got problems. My problem is I don't want to talk to anyone right now. I just want to chill. But that's part of, as someone I know would say, going lower, less up and more down, laying yourself down for other people. So you're pretty, man, you're not a good person to measure yourself up against.
Because what was it before Christ then, Paulie, when it came to connection, earphones in your ear, not listening to anyone, not connecting with anyone? Is it sort of like always been part of your nature to be very relational, very connection, or is it new?
I think I've always cared for people. It's just God's magnified that by 1,000. And when we talk about this, I think in such a time-poor world we live in, just giving someone that minute of your attention, just like communication or helping someone to move, means a lot more. Means a lot more than what we can give credit for it. Yeah.
So pre-Christ days, where was God for you growing up and all that?
Pre-Christ days, we never knew God. We never stepped foot into church. I went to one, what would you call it? Youth, like a troubled youth group. I just went for the Milo and games.
Troubled youth group?
Yeah. Well, we're from Tokoro. There wasn't much trouble, but I remember once going to there, and that was probably the only reference to God that I ever had. I learned John 3:16, memorized it. Yep. When I was about, I don't know, 9 maybe. When I was about 9.
Was it Pastor Paul's church down there? The Apostolic Church there, or in Tokoroa?
It's called Tio Ora, I think it was called. It was just the youth outreach. Man. Yeah.
Awesome. Did a friend invite you, or you just heard about it?
No, just all the kids would go. We'd go in along to it. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They used to stack up the steel chairs in the middle, and everyone would just smash each other into it. It was pretty cool. It was ruthless. Wouldn't pass Craig Scarlett's safety measures.
Not allowed to do that stuff anymore, eh?
Not allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the only reference to God that I probably could ever remember. And one friend in intermediate who told me about the mark of the beast that kind of freaked me out a bit. Right. It was about as deep as it went.
Wow. Up until you were how old?
2013.
Really?
33.
So that was the only thing you remembered, John 3:16, for that long? And did you think about God at all?
No.
What about the cultural, religion? I know very little about it, but
like Ratana.
Yeah, like the moon,
Oh, like myths and mythologies and
like
Māori,
the Māori sort of.
Yeah.
Maui.
You'd give your first fish to Tangaroa, the god of the sea. But it was never something you had greenstones and tongas that you trusted would look after you and were gifted from people that cared about you.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
So Christians wearing that?
No. It's just you grew up as a Māori, as your culture.
Oh yeah, but I mean Christians wearing that now. Is that kind of silly?
Doesn't matter.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I took mine off.
Yeah.
Marshall let me get baptised with mine. It was a gift from my mum. It was there on the day of the baptism.
But then you chose to take it off.
It was a personal conviction later on.
Yeah, well.
Because of what it meant to me.
Mm.
Yeah, which I guess that's the key. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So that was
action.
no God conscience.
No God conscience.
Wow.
No conviction when it comes to adultery, nothing. 0.
Wow. You never even thought of it. So when you learnt John 3:16 at 9 years of age, you just thought, I'll just memorise it to get it.
Oh, it was part of what I had to do to be able to come back the next week.
Same, Ignite and youth. Memorise this, will give you a lolly next week if you can get it. It's the same thing.
Hoping that it'll have a bit more weight.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there were some kids in that group that, go
Full
Christians on. And went full on. Nope.
I'm pretty sure it's the Milo, but
yeah. Yeah, we still do. Technically, we still do the same thing, man.
Take the Milo out of it and see who comes in.
Yeah, take the hot dogs and take Waffa out of youth and see how many kids we lose. So what about after death then? Like, what about you die, what happens? What was your thought?
Never thought about it.
Into your 30s?
Never thought about it.
Wow. No. So then, okay. So then what made you become aware of God then? Or think about God, or think about eternity, or death, or whatever?
Well, some pretty close people were slowly giving their hearts to the Lord. And in the current situation I was in at the time, I guess a bit of fear towards my daughter's growing up in a slowly diminishing world that, and even in the actions that I was taking at the time, I just reached out for help to a good friend who challenged my way of thinking at the time, full of alcohol.
Well, they were full of alcohol.
No, I was.
Oh.
Listen here, man. You need Jesus. What about you, bro?
Wow. So that okay. So there just came a point in your life where you're like, oh my goodness, what am I doing?
What were you?
We're at the bottom.
Wow.
People talk about the bottom.
Yeah.
You don't know you're at the bottom until
Yeah.
you know you're at the bottom. And
The
I was at the
bottom.
bottom.
Wow. What did that look like? Dark, empty,
I was fearful.
fearful.
Yeah, it was a feeling that was strange to me. With what Monty was going through, with what Boston was my eldest daughter was a big contributing factor, 12, 13 years old. And things were changing. And I couldn't change it.
Was Boston starting to step out of like your being your precious little daughter? She was starting to become, I can see things, I can say things and think things for myself.
Yeah. She was acting out. She was starting to act out. And it was through my behaviours at the time. It was starting to affect her, and I could see it.
So you could see how your lifestyle was impacting your children.
Correct.
Wow. And that was like, oh my gosh, I need to change. But you didn't know where to go.
I love my daughters.
Yeah.
I always loved my daughters. I had fallen out of love with my wife.
Yeah.
I had started resenting her, and the factors that come with it, the family factors that come with that.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's something I couldn't control. My daughters were starting to spiral out of control,
Mm.
and it scared me.
So what was like the conversation like with your friend? What was like the how did you bridge that? Like did you just say look don't know what to do, I'm out of control or something?
No. There was no confession. It was all it was, can you take my daughters to church?
Oh wow.
Was the question.
What?
Because if they ever come
To youth group with Milo.
Do you know anywhere you can get my daughters some Milo and some John 3:16?
He was a very trusted friend, and
Yeah.
and through the whole cancer and everything else, he didn't leave our side. He never once asked us to come to church, but he never left our side.
Wow. And so when you said, can you take my daughters to church, what did he say?
He simply said, whatever's going on with your daughters is going on with you and Mon. They're a product of who you and Mon are. Absolutely. So you could imagine someone deep with like 4 different partners at the time, full of alcohol.
Punch him in the face.
No, I said, I think I said something like, no, I'm all right.
I got this. I got this.
No, everything's okay. Yeah, I'm all right.
Everything's okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who do you think you are?
It sounded something like that, I think.
So then after that conversation, did it sort of just eat away at you? Or
No, he just said, look, you and Mon come. You and Mon come, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what changes there are. And that was, I avoided it for the next 3 weeks and then talked to Mon about it. I said, look, should we go to church? And then she just simply said, if it's going to save our marriage,
wow.
let's go.
And that was 2013.
2013, yeah.
That was on a Passover dinner, eh? Easter.
No. It was normal service.
Oh.
Normal service.
And so how did God encounter you, or how did he connect with you?
Thinking about it now, and that was the weirdest experience of my life was being in that environment, But it was also the environment that God got me through the likes of Georgia and Mahalia, and the very reason we walked into that place for my daughters is I managed to get Monty Jamie and Naomi out of there, but could not find Boston. There's only 30 or 40 of us then, but
Yeah.
and then turned around and there she was in the middle of the floor with Georgia and Mahalia, and I hadn't seen that smile on her face for so long.
Wow. So then, so what? Did you know God was real then, or it was
No.
just like, oh, that's nice. This is nice.
No, it was just it was just nice to see that smile on her face.
Yeah.
So if that was the environment that I had to go back to,
You'd happily do it
I'd happily do it.
just for your kids.
Correct.
Wow. So then what? Then, okay, you living the life you are, and then coming along to family time on Sunday?
Yeah, well, the second encounter was something different. It was me showing up to church the next Sunday, and what I know now to be the Holy Spirit just stopped me in my tracks as we walked through the door and physically reached into my heart and done something inside me that
Wow.
I could not explain for the whole service
Is this the following?
the following week.
Smacked you up straight away.
Make me straight away.
No, John 3:16.
Yeah,
Just-
take this.
Yeah.
Wow. So you arrive at, 9:25 and walk in the door.
About 9:27,
9:27.
have an amazing encounter with the Holy Spirit.
Walk in the door, and just as soon as you walk in, something's
Correct.
undeniable. Wow.
I can't move, can't breathe, just stuck, just paralyzed, and just feels like my heart's getting just massaged and my stomach's just filling up with something that I can't explain. So I just sat there the whole service just wondering what it was.
Wow.
Were you crying?
No.
Never
way,
cried.
way too staunch back then. Can't stop crying now, but too staunch back then.
Wow.
What'd you do?
Just sat there,
The whole day.
pretty much.
5 p.m. service kicks around. That
He's
guy's
still
still
here.
in that seat, man. So, I'm not talking to him.
Yeah. No raising my hand, no nothing.
Just
Just
Wow,
picked me
that's
up and
incredible.
just-
Wasn't even the message. Just as soon as
No
you
worship.
walked in.
No George Upu on the worship. I just settled at the door to maybe clear back then. Only just got in the door, man, and just could not move.
wow. And since then, it's just been line upon line.
Yeah, it's just been amazing people that God has placed around me to help break down the foundational strongholds in my life.
Did the partying and the drinking stop straight away, or
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I do remember saying at one stage, man, I'm still drinking, I'm still gambling. And another good friend of mine just said, man, it's okay. Just get to know Jesus. Just get to know Jesus.
What were you doing for work at this time?
I was doing electrical civil work.
Running a team or
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, running a team.
away a bit, eh?
No, it was all on the Gold Coast.
Oh, really?
Doing a night shift job and Peck Fair while we're doing Purple Book, and having a
Oh,
couple of
that's
people come
right.
down and pray for me in front of all the boys was pretty
That's right.
weird.
What? Whoa, back that up a bit. So you're working.
Doing night shift, yeah, Miss Purple Book.
What are you doing for work? Like practically, what are you literally doing at Pack Fair?
Excavator, like digging out holes, putting cables in the ground, conduits in the ground, transformers in the ground.
This is all like council stuff practically, eh?
Energetic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, for that Pacific Fair upgrade back then.
You'd been at Purple Book that night.
No, I missed it because I was working night shift. So the Purple Book group show up and start praying for me.
Wasn't I at this Purple Book?
Nah, you didn't want to pray for me, but you were there, but you didn't want to pray for me. It was actually
We're gonna
Marsh and
pray,
Dylan.
pray for something. Yeah, catch you notes later.
But it was the weirdest thing, man. It was the weirdest thing. And the guys paid me up for it afterwards. But I do it now all the time.
Exactly.
That's where it started. Eh?
Exactly.
So, were you on an excavator? Can you give us a bit more detail about that? That's pretty interesting.
Digging holes, Sam. Digging holes and put cables in the ground.
Marsh rocks up.
Marsh and Dylan rock up.
Who's Dylan?
Dylan.
The golfer.
Oh, from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course, everyone's from New Zealand. I'm not, just FYI.
So I see this big frame standing there. We're working away in this big frame standing there outside 7-Eleven, just staring. So I walk over.
Awkward as.
Yeah,
Awkward as. You know how we roll.
So I walk over and he's like, "Oh, we're just here to pray for you, bro." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay." Not expecting the whole physical prayer thing, but he starts praying for me and I start laughing and then I realise he's serious. And then all the boys are just looking at me. I'm like, "Oh,
Oh, nice.
all good."
Was this like a 30-second prayer, 5 minute?
Oh, I think it was decent.
Good.
Yeah, I can't remember.
All right.
Can't remember much.
It was the act.
I do remember I did have some refreshments, I think, was it? I probably had something else to give you.
I can't remember.
Food
I can't remember
drink
anything
or-
else on that night.
That's amazing.
Boys took his refreshments and beat him up after that. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I guess that that explains a lot of things for me about how you conduct yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit reserved when it comes to things in public. You're not so much. Something needs to be done. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. No,
That's amazing.
I admire that about you. Yeah, that's awesome. Can we I'm fascinated about your personal, like, and professional and all of it, like, tied in into everything and growing from that. Because I know you personally, so to know what you're doing and stuff is inspirational to me. You know, you got an amazing family, you got amazing girls, beautiful girls, an amazing wife, and then you work hard. You work away a lot, not so much at the moment, but you work hard, and then you look after a lot of people in our community. So, yeah, how did you? Was that a natural transition for you? Like going, I'm sure Marsh wants to get back to some of the nitty gritty details of things that you needed to change, but being someone that puts community and other people first, was that an easy thing for you to change?
It was just this. It was a slow progression over 7 years, and seeing the fruit from it, and knowing how Jesus walked this earth and put people in front of him. It's a special privilege, and it means a lot to people. It means a lot to people.
So what does it look like when you go away for work, say do a 7-day swing? What does it look like connecting with your workmates practically?
Again, in the FIFO work life, it's not long before you start to see that there's a bigger toll on men working away for their families. And you got to remember, I was only a second-year apprentice in the trade when I started working away with these guys who had been in the industry 14 years. But it didn't take long before the cracks started to appear, and just simply asking them questions about their family. And you partly already know the answer, because you can't work away from your family for 14 years trying to father 3 days out of 14 and not have some type of impact on your life. So it didn't take long. It didn't take much. And to be able to give them a bit of hope, not just them, but I intentionally, when we were working in the areas that they lived in, because we were all from different parts of Queensland, I would ask if I could stay there so that I could get to know their partners as well. and their families.
Cool.
Yeah, and that didn't take long either. Don't know, the wives were crying within 10 minutes because it's just hard. It's just hard.
So how do you relate to, because you're on the same swing? So what hope do you give them by saying, well, I'm on the same swing, but this is how I cope. This is that sort of the bridge you use to talk about the Lord, or you just...
Yeah, well not one of them have denied prayer.
Oh.
They've all accepted prayer.
Not one.
Not one. They've all accepted prayer.
Wow.
And just letting them know to plan an exit, because they're just there. They're trying to provide. They're trying to give their families a better life, something they didn't have. But it's just the time factor and being able to give them a different purpose or different vision about far from what they've got. And then you don't, because it's so different to the way everyone else thinks. It's or the mold they're already in. It doesn't take long before they realize it's from God or from the Jesus that I speak about to them, or the prayer that I offer them, or
That's amazing.
Have many of them had like a encounter equal to, similar change to you, experience? And
none of them.
none. Just seeds for the time being.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I suppose you don't know who you had a good friend. You just don't know if they've got a good friend. That when their moment comes where they're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing, or what can I do? Then their friend might say the same thing again, So
Exactly.
that's the trust factor, I think.
Yeah.
In the with the power of God and how He works. He's always working in people's hearts.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's His game anyways.
It's true.
Planting people in certain areas and making situations happen. And I was talking about it with someone earlier. I think as Christians we can focus so much on, we want to get people saved, and to get them saved now we've got to, word vomit as much Christian, lingo into them as we can, when really it's like, man, this is like a long journey. It's just plant these seeds and trust God to do His thing. You're not converting them. You're not. It's them encountering God, not encountering your experience with God. How so you, I've got 2 young girls, so I understand as much as I can at the moment. But that story about Boston, when that hits me pretty good. What was it like when you start to, you're working at home when that stuff's happening, and you're starting to experience change, and then you to support your family and to do better for your family, you have to start to work away. That's how it happened. Hey, like
it was more. I had to finish my apprenticeship.
Okay.
So we done an internship.
Yeah.
I asked after that internship if an opportunity come up to do an apprenticeship. Prayed about it and got the apprenticeship, and then 1 year in, we lost the contract around the Gold Coast and Brisbane area. So we had to go and work far north Queensland and whatnot. And yeah, it was a commitment I wanted to finish. So I found a purpose in it, a bigger purpose than just finishing an apprenticeship, and was able to bless.
When did you actually finish your apprenticeship?
November this year.
Oh, real?
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
On the big bucks.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well done.
So, what's the apprenticeship?
It's a linesman apprenticeship, power lines. I'm working on the power lines. So.
Yeah. So kind of like,
High voltage stuff, Sam.
yeah. So that's the stuff that makes this stuff run, right?
Up there.
So in comparison with a Sparky,
Oh, mate.
No way.
No.
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 It's all the fundamentals, I guess. It's all the big cables that make everything work, right?
Correct. It's the mains.
It's the city level, not the home level.
Home level.
Not the-
Sparkies are way more qualified technically.
It's
than
more
we are.
technical,
Yeah,
eh? Yeah.
We're just big construction workers.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's good. So how was that for you being away? Obviously you care about your daughters a lot. You're going through massive changes and then having to be away from your family week on, week off.
It was like 10 days on, 4 days off.
How was that?
I found it restful. I didn't have to deal with looking after my wife. I didn't have to deal with the issues my daughters were facing. Quite easy to justify, really, if I didn't have good people around me. But yeah, now I know. I've got to find that same peace when I'm working away. I've got to bring it home. I have to find it at home as well.
Yeah, so it's harder being at home, being around it all, eh?
It is when you're caring for a sick wife and you got 3 teenage daughters in your household and a 2-year-old, and
it's full on. And is that sort of why guys justify FIFO for so long? It's better away, or
Yes,
justified
and-
in their own heart.
and they've built their lifestyle around the wage,
Right.
which is a big wage.
Right.
They built their lifestyle around it.
That's the problem, eh? They adjust their lifestyle to so that they're not even, the family's not even benefiting. They're just spending big and
That's
living large, and then so it's actually no point them being away.
That's right. And through having good people around me, was able to show me at an early stage that, you know, if you're able to manage your finances well enough to be able to remain on that same
The basic
lifestyle,
income.
and be content, well then anything else after that, you know, you can use for the goals that you set for the giving. There's none of that pressure. There still is pressure, but
That's awesome. We talked about the connection factor you have with people pre-Christ, post, you know, and then walking with the Lord. What's the noticeable difference in your connection with people? Like, you must have been a good connector of people before you met Jesus.
I was a safe zone connector.
A safe zone
Like,
connector.
Creature of habit, I guess. The people I was good at connecting with them if I already knew them, kind of thing.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
If I was comfortable with them.
Right, okay. Right. So there'd be this camaraderie, you know, same team type
Correct.
thing.
Confidence.
Yep.
And alcohol.
Right. Okay.
Brings a lot of people together.
That was a big factor in your life?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Growing up in the logging industry, you work hard, you drink hard.
Right.
Watch my father do it all his life. Watch my brothers do it all their lives.
So that alcohol would be the biggest thing in your life growing up. Wow.
Yes.
So how did that dwindle off or cut off post Christ? Like, what happened in that situation?
I remember a barbecue we had at home. After church. Invited a few of the church guys around. They brought some beers around. And I fondly remember saying no to a beer that they offered me, and they were like, "It's okay to drink, man. Like, you know, it's okay to." And audibly, I heard God say to me, "No, it's not okay for you to drink. With you comes pride. With you comes adultery. With you comes everything else." So, I verbalized it too. I was still quite, maybe a year in the Lord.
Yeah.
I verbalized it to him, to the guys, and they were just dumbfounded.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So that was it. That was
No, I tried again.
oh
I tried again. I didn't know if it was the Lord or not.
Yeah, it wasn't
tried
super.
again.
It's never super clear the first time. Anyway, I hate how he does that, man.
And it was with my brother up in Gladstone. We were having a barbecue up at his house. He had just been baptized. Yeah, so he goes and gets on the beers like he does. But, we're having a barbecue at his house. We're on the balcony, you know. And I'm like, oh, surely this can't hurt, surely. So I grab a beer, crack it open, have a drink, and it's just like this heaviest lead weight at the bottom of my stomach. Like the heaviest lead weight. And I just verbalized to my brother, that's it. It's no more.
wow, that's amazing.
And he already knew the journey I was going through anyway. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so then the connection factor, like, okay, you've got no percentage in you. So the connection factor, how's that growing? Because you're a big personal connection guy. The awkwardness, the let's not go here, let's just go here.
Mm.
Yeah.
So why is that such a really important for you?
Because I've seen the fruit from it. I was
Right.
in love. I was invited along by a good friend to sit awkwardly and invest into people that I didn't know. And I saw the fruit from it, and I saw the trust that was built from it, and the respect that people give you when you're prepared to, in all your awkwardness and all your, awkward mannerisms and everything while you're there. They appreciate it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And they just trust that you're going to be there. If you can be there in that time, they trust that you're going to be there, and you're going to be there.
Because not many people care for people's like actual rubbish, actual crap. Like it's pretty hard to stick with people when they're going through some actual crap. You want to find this is what I'm saying to you, Bob. Like for example, man, 2 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. You're like, I don't know whether my phone was unlocked or whatever, or you asked to use it. But you're like, we're just together. I can't remember what we were doing. I think I might have even been with my dad. We might have been in a coffee shop or something. And you're like, I grabbed my phone and just jumped onto my search history on the internet. And you're like, I'm just checking your search history, bro. And I was like, what? Nah. You can vouch. You found nothing, right? Because I got that second phone. Nah. But I love that, and I think that's what's so valuable for people, because you're like, man, I want to know. I want to know about you and what you're going through, and I'll sit here with you, and let's talk about that. And I love that. The people value that. People love that. I mean, people that are running from things don't tend to love it, but the people that actually want, and that's massive. That's huge. There's not many people that do that. It's usually reserved for the counsellors or the pastors or the whatever, but.
Do you feel like there's no, sort of get the idea that with Paulie, there's no mucking around? There's no, like, call it for what it is, let's go,
I think some people are a bit more sensitive than others.
Yeah.
I think there is a time and a place where you jump on someone's phone and you search their, that comes with a bit of trust too. And Sam knows my heart, but
100%.
But yeah, I'll get to the point pretty quick. Yeah, if you're sitting across from me, that's for a reason.
Yeah,
people have done that with me, and there's a lot of fruit to it.
Yeah,
but then I'll follow it up too. The same way people followed up with me as soon as it's been brought to light.
So 7 years in this journey, this amazing journey, is your walk getting freer? Do you feel more freedom in life? Is life simpler? Or is just more grace to walk through it? Or
think I've seen too much of God, even in the simple things, to have any doubt in my heart that He's not going to be there for the next battle that comes. So, in that sense, yes. In the physical sense, feels like it's actually getting tougher.
Right. Yeah.
Feels like it's actually getting tougher.
Yeah.
You know, the changing face of Gold Coast Chapel. But he keeps just telling me, you know, the face of church is going to change. The face of people are going to change, but my love's going to remain the same.
Awesome.
And that's what's been embedded into my heart right from the start.
Yeah.
And if we all have that revelation of who He is, no matter how much change happens, you just hold steadfast.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome, Paulie. Oh.
For maybe some people that are listening, and partly for myself maybe as well,
Know the author, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to ask, eh?
Know the author. It's pretty hard to hold on to podcasts and Valiant Man and everything else that comes with being a Christian. But if you don't know the Lord that you're serving, it's very hard to imitate what He done on this earth and love people. So just know the author. Take your time out. Know the author.
I love that because you just answered my question, but you didn't let me ask the question. So for people that want to know what the question was, it was how do you do what you do? Have a family, have a lot of things, and actually be of use in the community, love people, love your family first and foremost, and your wife, and heal yourself and help heal your family and do all those things. And that's the answer. So thank you.
It's awesome, man. As much as you struggle with this, we struggle with this, but it's a good struggle, and you did great. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.